Hi everyone, in this lecture we will talk about nested functions. So when you put a function inside a function, it is called a nested function. So the concept of nested function is same as nested loops and nested conditions. So this is a general syntax of nested function. First of all, we have our outer function, and then inside that function we have an other function which is called a nested function. So the outer function is called outer or enclosing function, while the inner function is called inner or enclosed function. But the most important question is that why we need nested functions or inner functions. So there are four main features of nested functions due to which we need them. So let's discuss them one by one. First of all, nested functions allow us to protect our data because inner functions or nested functions are not accessible outside the enclosing function. And this feature is called encapsulation, and we will talk about encapsulation in detail in upcoming lectures. And then they act as helper functions to facilitate the code. So let's suppose you have a function, and inside that function you need to repeat 5 or 6 statements again and again. So instead of writing them again and again, just define all of these statements in an inner function and then just call that inner function inside that enclosing function. So this is called code facilitation, and we will talk about it in the upcoming lectures. And then they allow us to create closures, also known as function factories. And finally, they are used for enhancing decorator functions. And don't worry, we will discuss all of these features in detail in the upcoming lectures. And now let's write our simple nested function. So I am on my VS Code and I have created a new Python file with the name nested underscore function.py. And first of all, let's define here our enclosing function or outer function. So just write here def, and I'll say outer underscore funct, and just write here a print statement, print hello. Okay. And now inside this function, let's define another function. So just write here def, and I'll say inner underscore function, and let's write here word. Okay. Let's call our outer function. So what are you expecting? Will we get hello world or just hello? So let's save it, let's run it, and we got hello. And the reason is that we have defined this inner function in this outer function, but we are not calling this inner function. So beneath the definition of this inner function, let's call the inner function. Let's save it, let's run it, and now we got hello and world. And in order to make it more attractive, let's end this print statement with a space. So let's save it and let's run it. And now we got hello world in the same line, but we are using two different functions for printing this message, hello and world. And you can't access this inner function outside this def function. By this I mean that if I write here inner underscore function, as you can see I am getting an error here. So let's run it, and we got error, inner function is not defined. So this is how this inner function allow us to protect the data, and we will discuss this in the encapsulation lecture in detail. Don't worry. So let me remove it back. And now one of the most important property of this inner function is that it can access the variables of the enclosing function or the outer function. So for example, if I define here p is equals to hi, and if I write here print p, so as you can see I'm not getting any kind of error. although I am calling this p variable inside this inner function, while the p is defined outside this function. So let's run it, and we got hello world and then hi. So you can access the variables of the outer function inside the inner function. But can I access the variables of this inner function in this outer function? So let's define here I is equals to 12, and after calling this inner function, let's print here print I. So let's save it, let's run it, and obviously I got an error because you can't access the variables of the inner function in the outer function. So let me remove this variable. Let's remove this print statement. And along with accessing variables of the outer function, you can also access the parameters of the outer function. So let's write here a, and here I'll pass something like 142, and right beneath this p I'll print a. So let's save it, let's run it, and we got high and then 142. So basically parameters are our variables, but we define them in these brackets. So I hope that you have understood the basic concept of nested functions, and in the upcoming lectures we will discuss four of its properties in detail, and I'll see you there. Bye bye.